Hi, it's Hassan Abbas. I'm a technical architect at General Electric at the time of this recording. I have experience with Team Foundation Server since its last release. I think it was 2005 version. But the product Team Foundation Server, also known as Visual Studio Team Services, is really now very mature product as perspective of DevOps toolings and managing your application lifecycle management. It provides end-to-end lifecycle of your product toolings for your managing your lifecycle of your software development from start to end, like version control, building, code analysis, testing, you name it, continuous integration, builds, deployments, managing your releases, managing your products, bug tracking, etc. All these tools we need to build end-to-end, build a software from start to end. It does provide a rich tooling, but it also integrates with other external third-party tooling and open source tooling. It's really a rich product, to be honest. I mean, I looked at Gartner report and other and there are other big vendors in the same like competitors like IBM, HP, but TM Foundation Server, what I see is really designed initially from in this mind that it's really application lifecycle management tooling. It's not something was a product before, like HP. They had a product, HP ALM. They named it after ALM, but before ALM it was just a testing product. And we have the same story in other vendors, but Team Foundation Server is very designed for this thing in mind, that it is designed for managing your software development lifecycle and application lifecycle management. These are things that really topics of separate discussion, but this video call recording is just for those guys who know not much about Team Foundation Server, who don't know how to use that and how to get started basically, and because of new cloud version of Visual Studio Team Foundation Server, they name it differently. They call it Visual Studio Team Services. This is something everyone who has a Microsoft account, like Outlook.com or Hotmail.com account, they can start using Visual Studio Team Services right from now. It's free for up to 5 users, and you can use version control, builds, even releases, bug tracking, all these tools. Obviously there will be some advanced tools like cloud load testing and other which won't be available, but most of the features are available, and you can start using a tool to at least evaluate the tool. So yeah, let's get started, and this is again video for those guys who don't know how to get started with Visual Studio Team Services and or Team Foundation Server. So just go to this visualstudio.com link, visualstudio.com, and after that you'll see this page, unless Microsoft has changed after this recording, but this is the page you will see, and you'll see something like get started for free under the Visual Studio Team Services, right? They do have other product options, but just focus on Visual Studio Team Services. Click on get started for free, and here you will need to sign in with your Hotmail account or Microsoft account, any other Microsoft account, if you have one. If you don't have one, then you can obviously sign up, but I will use just a test account for this, and just log in, and it will open a page like this. It will ask you are on your way to managing projects with Visual Studio Services, create your account. And it means you need to pick a name, right, for your account, which will be your site, like your name .visualstudio.com. So this is what you will type, and you will access your portal. So you just need to pick a name which will be part of your URL, of your portal URL. So let's say I call it this one. This is my name. So I feel comfortable with this name. I will be using Git. But don't worry about that. You can always change that after. Well, you can create many projects, one for Git, one for team version control. It does support both options, distributed and centralized version control, but also integrate with other version control if you're using other features like build and release part of that. You can use other version control system as well. Okay, so that's it. You just give your name and click a button, continue, and that's it. 2 clicks and you are on your way to creating your account, and which will give you a lot of toolings. So it's at the moment creating your account basically is called collection in terms of Team Foundation server, which means you can have as many projects in your collection or Team Foundation service account, and in each project you can have all these toolings available. So that's it, and hooray, you got your account. And you will see a little welcome message, congratulations, and you can click a button to start managing your work, start planning your work for the project, and it both supports both for Kanban style just-in-time delivery method. If you are following a more disciplined framework or methodology like Scrum in Agile methodology or framework, then it's also support that as well. You can click a button here, or you can add code by clicking this one. I won't click it here because this is not a normal way of navigation. Actually, just close this browser because I won't be using this newly created account for this demo. I will be using my existing account. So it will also tell you how to log in next time you close the browser and log in again. So let's switch to other account. I'm going to close the browser. All right, so we now have an account for Visual Studio Team Services. Now what we need to do to access all these services are go to this visualstudio.com and sign in with our Microsoft account that we created for team services. I already have set it. I just sign in, and I have two team service accounts, so I'll use my first one. So here you will see actually the links, or your register links. You can have multiple accounts if you want to, and you can create more accounts as well. Okay. So this is what you will see, unless Microsoft has changed something after this recording. But the main thing is first thing you need to do when you are logged into visualstudio.com, and just for your information, it will be prefixed with your account name .visualstudio.com. So that's your unique URL for your team service account that you can share with your team. So of course, first thing we need to do to access Visual Studio Team Services is to create a new team service project or Team Foundation server project in case you're using on-prem TFS. To do that, you just click this new link. This is basically a section which lists all of your projects. You can have multiple projects, any number of projects. There's no limit. But in general advice is keep your project limited. I personally, if I have multiple teams even, I'll use one project for that, but we'll come to that later. So let's create a new project. That's the first step, number one. And when you click that link, it give you option to give a name of the project, just description for anyone to understand what it's about. and then you need to select the process template, which is basically for this course, which is project management and work item tracking, is more relevant to. It will change. It will impact your work items. We'll discuss what work item is later, but it will change the process. So you are following agile methodology or a scrum methodology or scrum framework very strictly. You're following that, or you may perhaps following a very formal process like capability maturity model. Maybe you are looking for capability maturity model in IT organization, like your certification for that, because there are 5 levels of CMI, and different companies that pursuing for that certification are in different levels. And if you are already doing that, that's the best choice you can select. And also for companies which are doing waterfall, I will suggest to use the CMI. This is more formal template, which gives you more data, to be honest, more rigorous data. For auditing, it can help you for compliance and auditing reasons. But also, if you have more formal processes, it helps you. For those companies more suitable, it gives you bug tracking all in one place. But these things are now basic, by the way, are also flexible in Agile and Scrum. It used to be only limited to CMI and past. But if you're doing Agile projects and you want to be flexible, you don't want to be fixed with any specific framework like Scrum. Agile is that choice for you. And if you are already following Scrum, and you are familiar with all the terms like sprints or retrospective velocity, thing like this, then that's the template to choose, because it will really help you to follow the same conventions in your project management while doing your running your projects. So we can select Scrum, okay. Just assuming we are following Scrum, and we can give it a name, my test project, my, what do you call it, demo, work management. So there won't be a space, so demo, work demo. Okay, so just give it any name which you make sense for your project. Of course, it won't be that in your case. Maybe you're doing a project, your application have some name, you have a team, you have a department. You can give a name like that, like your department name and projects or something like that. Okay, any description, 1, 2, 3, and it's not required, so I just delete it. Okay, so next thing we need to, the last thing we need to decide is the version control option. Version control is basically, most of you I'm expecting will already be familiar, but for those who don't, like project managers, may be wondering why this option is there, because TFS is fundamentally, to be honest, right after source save, which is Microsoft product for version control, which is how to store the code the developer right to develop applications. They need to be, of course, backed up and regularly with change control and other things in it. It's a whole subject, but version control provides you to store that. They can have multiple versions of that code. They can get copies and all that stuff. So TFS was the next product after source save, which was Microsoft product for version controlling. But most people still think, and surprisingly, I am hearing from multiple people when I hear it, that TFS is version control system. No, TFS is application lifecycle management, collaboration, a combination of tools for teams, for everyone working in your project. Everyone, when I say, mean real, literally everyone, from PMO, project managers, your executives, your testers, your release teams, your ops teams, your developers, everyone who is adding any value to the project, anyone who the company is investing on for that project can work in a TFS. But bear in mind, TFS is not just TFS, it is the family of products. So which means it does integrate with other projects. I'm not saying that executive or PMO will be using TFS directly. They might be using Project Server, for example, for their project portfolio system management, and that will have integration with TFS and that fed data to back to Project Server, for example, and they have all the reports and visibility to see what's going on all the projects and compare and have these matrices available for them to do decisions, better decisions, and vice versa. They can input as well, and that goes to TFS. So, but anyway, so go back to let's be beyond our subject. So we need to select which version control options we need to. So to store the code for our applications, and we'll discuss what is the relationship with code and the work management later. But to store the code, we need to specify what we're going to use. There are two models at the moment supported in TFS. Initially, it was only Team Foundation Version Control, which is centralized version control system, and it is basically for teams which want more control, more centralized control, so they can have locks on files and things like these, and it's just central in nature, and it's just a good option for massive project as well. If you have very large repository, you can use that, so you don't create multiple copies if it's not make sense for your scenario. So it could also provide good experience with integration with Visual Studio, although Git, which we'll just discuss in shortly, will also be has integration capabilities, but of course TFS, Team Foundation Version Control, is more mature in the context of Microsoft technologies, and Microsoft has worked a lot on that. So that might be a good starting point. But if your developers are already using Git or familiar or just in favor of Git, it's a decentralized distributed model of version control system, which is very distributed in nature. You can have multiple lightweight branches locally. You can, developers can very quickly create new branches and merge. And this is considered to be a more modern approach, to be honest. But I still think, in my opinion, you can live with both, of course, and it's not better or right or wrong option here. Both make sense for different scenarios. Actually, Git might not be suitable for you. You might need a locking feature, for example. You don't want two designers working on one image file and one they both check in, and then you can't decide how to merge it. And merge mean merging two files together, which is a concept in version control system, to preserve the work done by multiple developers in the same file, which is not possible in image, for example. And other configuration file and other things can have conflicts. So sometimes you don't need that, and you select. And this is just one thing, by the way. You have a whole discussion on the version control, which version control you want to choose. But let's back to the subject again. This is not the subject of this course, but if you really are interested to know, there's a very good resources out there, especially on Microsoft site in MSDN. They give you the ALM Ranger site as well, which give you guidance in choosing the version control, and has very clear instructions, and it just help you a lot to decide. So let's start, for the sake of simplicity, start team function version control. But that's the most version control most developers are familiar with, and it's just simple to understand. So let's select that. I generally prefer Get, to be honest, but I'm just selecting for the sake of simplicity. All right. When I click this, it will show you the progress bars, creating the projects. Basically, it's creating a lot of things. It's creating you not just work item project management stuff, but it's also creating all the things we discussed in the previous slide, that all the features in TFS provides are in this project, and it's done. It's so quick. So let's navigate and click this button to navigate to that project portal, which is this. You when you go into your project portal, you see this page with the name of your project, and you see some introductory screen to help you understand more about what we can do here. So to manage work, you can click here, and it will give you some guidance on how to manage the work. It's just helping you to navigate, okay, here do we manage the work, which is a Kanban board. By default, it has these 3 columns, but I don't want to go in details at that moment. I will go, of course, but not at the starting point. But this is how you can create new work items. You just click a new button and create a new requirement or a bug. And you can, if you don't want to create bugs on your board, you can disable this. Just this. You can limit your what type of things you can create here. So this is a Kanban board. But if you want to see real board in the list view, the backlog, then you click the backlog link and you have other view. So you just need to type something like requirement 1. Okay, and hit enter, and that's it. So that's how easy it is to create new requirement. Of course, you need to have a proper requirement. This is just, I'm giving you, you can type a title of requirement. Requirement 2, and I'll just copy this. Okay, so and requirement 3, you know. I'm just telling you for the sake of saying, oops, I did a mistake. So I can go double click and rename the title. So that's it. So I just save and close. And this is just for your example. This is how you can create very simply the requirement in your backlog. But how did if I'm not on that screen which helped me to be there, how can I go there? So let's go back. Or in the main visualstudio.com prefix with our account name. So you go to your project by clicking this shortcut link. So all the recently visited projects will be here. If you have maybe 5 projects, you will be seeing 5 projects here. And you can, of course, remove these shortcuts. But if you are not seeing your project here, you just click browse. And in my case, I have multiple projects. So this is our project. You will see only one if you are just creating first time. You select your project and you click navigate. And that's your dashboard, and we'll see dashboard in a moment. But main things you need to consider about is the work tab. So in this portal, let me introduce a little bit. in this portal, you see your project name. You have a menu. Home menu is where you are right now, and in that you have multiple tabs for dashboard. So if you go welcome, this is just your readme MD file. You can upload your readme file, and you have then overview tab, and this is by default. You can remove all that content if you don't like it, and you can create new tabs if you want to. Just click add new dashboard. We will see that in a moment. So main thing, and you have code menu, where we recently discussed the repositories to Git and Team Foundation server. This is a Team Foundation version control, centralized version control system. So that's why you're seeing these folders. Developers usually use developers tool like Visual Studio, or if they're working open source technologies, they might use Eclipse. And there are many third-party plugins that you can install in any other developers tools to connect with EFS. So they can upload all the code here, and you can see that code. At the moment, there are default files for templates. So basically, you can click any file in your code, and you can view it with nice formatting and all the same view that you see in Visual Studio. And then you can download this file. You can add it right in browser as well. You can do changes, and all these changes will be tracked just like in version control with your name, who did that, when did that, what was the difference, and you can compare in the history, etc., etc. I won't go in detail on this section, but let's move on. Work tab, that's the thing we will be focusing in this course, which we created, these 9 requirements in our backlog, and these are the requirements basically we created in our first time. This is the way you go in this. This is the way how you go here. Basically, if you want to be in your backlog, you go to your team project main site. You click on your shortcut link or just browse, and you click on a work tab. And once you've done that, you are in there. You can have a shortcut, of course. Just Control D and bookmark this. I won't do that, but you can. Okay, so when you are here, you might notice this little strip giving a message. You can add more backlog levels to this team. Access these settings through setting dialog. What does that mean? So your backlog, it has levels. This is your main concrete level, what do you call it? Is a backlog, requirement backlog, right? Where you have user requirements, business requirements, functional requirements, what do you call it? Even design specs if you want to make attached with these requirements. So this is your main thing you're gonna work on, right? And it's very explicit. I mean, it has details, enough details to developers can pick and start working on developing something. That's the backlog level, default level. But you also have, if you notice the features, and these features it's called a feature backlog in an agile. You might be familiar with the portfolio management. So when you do that, you have multiple projects, and each project have multiple features they're working on. Each feature has multiple features or modules or some area of application you're working on. We'll discuss shortly. And here you define what high-level features you require, and then there in the backlog you map these requirements with that feature, so are you done with that feature, or still some requirements left which will make that feature complete. That's the parent to child relationship. This is detail, this is high level, but if you need more levels, you can go in settings, click here, and if you want to go here without this link. You might have crossed it from there like that. Oh, it's gone. How do I go there? You just click this little gear icon, not this one at the bottom. Okay, so this is the settings for the backlog. This is the setting for the whole project. We might spend some time here a little bit later, but this is the one I'm focusing right now. So you just click it, go to backlog, and we'll cover all these things, by the way. Don't worry about that. We click backlog and we click Apex. So Apex, you can see backlog navigation levels. Apex are really high level. Although in theory, well, in practice as well, you can add more than 3 levels. But in reality, I never had an experience creating more than that. Well, I mean, experience or need to have it more than 3 levels. Well, I'm not saying that you might not need it. You may, but if you need, you can create it a different way. Not from here. You need to change the process template, which is out of the scope of this course. But you can ask your Team Foundation Server administrator to do that if I hope he is capable to do that. So you can select this option. If you want disable feature, you just want simple backlog, you can disable both. But if you want Apex as well, you can have 3 levels. So once it's done, you can see our 3rd level is there. So just go there. You might still be confused what if you don't know these Apex features and terms, either agile terms. Apex is basically very, very high level stuff, like I want to create a responsive design. I'm not sure you are familiar with that term. This is very technical, but let's see. This is very big design change in your application, and this will require a lot of work in different modules, features, and you need to work in small chunks, small phases, and you want to track this thing is really done or how much done or thing like that. Next, we want to go work on special security, go external, I don't know. So I have a very big requirement on security. Okay, and this security will be applied in multiple modules, features in your 80 different area of application. Okay, I'm just assuming, or what can I don't, to be honest, wasn't prepared to that. But let's assume something else now. Very big thing which might take multiple releases to get it done. So yeah, Apex can span multiple releases. These things are not something you have to finish in the same release. You can span into multiple releases because each Apex have multiple features they're working on. Might be one feature will be released in one release, but maybe 5 features are released, then this Epic feature, Epic item is complete. Okay, and because their 5 features were mapped with this Epic item, so your Epic item can span multiple releases. Okay, so it might take a little while to get it complete. So this is why this is very, very high level. If you really want that level of visibility, so your executive or PMO want to see that visibility, they can have these. You can enable this level and have these things mapped to give them that visibility or reporting if they need to. We'll cover on board as well how this visibility can be viewed in the board section, but let's focus on the backlog. Okay, so I just wanna take a little break here. Okay, so this is, I'm just telling you that what can I do more? Paint. You can split it later. Okay, anyway, leave it. So, okay, this is the work section, but we will be discussing in shortly because that's the main subject we will cover. How to create a backlog, manage our work here, and how to search the work in a query tab. This is the query tab we'll be looking as well. Create queries to query your data. So build some reports as well. Next tab is the build, which is basically once the developers have created the code and uploaded in a code repository, that need to be built, of course. Just like they build on a local machine in a developer tool. Build provide all the services to build any type of application. It's not necessarily Microsoft technology now in a new build system. They have two systems: the XAML based system, which is mainly Microsoft MS Build, which build .NET applications, .NET technology like C# VB .NET, and there's a new system which is the task-based system. I won't go in detail. It's just telling you in a side that you can have different builds for Visual Studio, iOS, Java, and mobile apps. You can select. These are out-of-the-box templates. We can have an empty template as well if you don't see this what you need, and you can create multiple tasks to perform that build operation to build a package application which can be then tested and deployed. So next thing after you build the application is testing. So you can run some unit tests, some integration tests, some UI tests, some load tests, and you can create multiple machines for test environments, for example, here. And you can see all the runs you have done so far. Test plan, of course, you use test cases and test suites and create test plans, and your QA team can, use even developers team can use the test plans to execute all the tests before they pass the work to the QA. So yeah, this is for QA team only, but also developers can help here. Last time you see at the time of this recording is release, and I hope this will be the final in future as well. But anyway, this is the last final step. You do release in your environments, including production environments. So you create multiple releases. You just select empty, or you want to deploy on Azure. So you select it and you create multiple environments. And then you give a name like this is QA environment, and this is dev environment, and you can create multiple environments like that. I don't know. This is staging. Okay. And then finally we know our production environment. So in the production environment, you select multiple tasks. What you want to do? You want to do some. So for dev environment, you want to run some tests. You want to do some anything, and these are very technical DevOps area, so you don't need to worry about too much about it. But just for your information, that these how you can manage your releases. You can give that definition, release definition or name, and you can have some triggers when to release. Is every time somebody checks into the code, and then you can select the build. It has integration with the build system, so with versioning, all that stuff. It's really cool stuff, to be honest. I mean, it's a must-have thing in these days. You want to deploy continuous deployment. I hope continuous delivery if you can achieve that. But this thing all in the one tool. That's what I love about Microsoft. Not Microsoft, the tool. they have created. That is really wonderful. Very few vendors out in the market giving you that level of integration in across all the different tooling the different teams are using. And Microsoft is really shining here, to be honest. I'm not saying Microsoft is the best vendor. There are many better tool out there that Microsoft develop. uh, and but this tool, I never seen any rich tool. I know they are big vendor like HP, ALM, and IBM and other providing ALM solutions, but TFS nowhere near, no one near TFS in the context of traceability or and integration and all these things with all these things. This is fantastic. Anyway, let's go back to the work. Just for information, the tabs are there, but we need to focus on work tab. That's our home. If you're a project manager, if you're not, then if you're a developer perhaps, then you can still need to come here to see all the status updates, etc. You can use Visual Studio as well, by the way. You don't need to go to the browser. The Visual Studio, if you love about it, just use that. Okay. So, what we need to do first thing. The first thing you do is let's go back to the home. So we need to a little bit spend some time in home, or not here, the project home, to set our dashboard and stuff like that. And before we do the dashboard, we need to configure our profile. So just go, let me close that. You click on your name here on top right, well, not much right, but here, and you click my profile, and you want to see this image. This is mine, but you can of course select one. Make sure it's less than 4 MB. Okay, so you can just go pictures and select some. Oh, I don't have anything. Okay, so anyway, you got an idea. You just select your picture and you save it. Okay, it's very simple, like Facebook. Okay, and then you just give your name, and this is easy for other people. If you're doing something, they want to know who is changing my work item status or something, who is checking code, etc., etc. That really helps. If sometime you have network account, AD account registered in TFS, which is a little bit technical, but in my experience, they have only that account ID here. For some reason, that AD directory, they want, the TFS is, well, not TFS. They're not providing enough information to TFS. TFS is not able to fetch that name automatically. Sometimes you can see that automatic if you're using on-prem TFS, on-premise TFS, not a cloud version of Team Services. Then you won't see that name sometime in some scenarios automatically. In that case, you can ask everyone, please give your name here. Everyone give the make sure you set your profile, so we know who is working, changing stuff. And second thing you give is your preferred email. Just wherever you want to receive notification regarding team foundation services. So somebody is assigning you some work, somebody is asking you code review or feedback on a release or something like that. You need to know these notification in which email address. Give your preferred email. Okay, that's all simple. Next thing is preferences. Okay, and by the way, I am on my not on my project page dashboard at the moment. I'll show you in a moment what I mean, because I'm seeing limited options. So I'm on a root level team foundation services, not there is no project name here. So if I'm in the scope of project, when I'm selected, I might see some more information regarding this project, some more settings I can do. So I'll show you in a moment on that. Okay, so next tab is the preferences, and you select your language, which language you prefer, your date pattern you prefer, and this is only for your relevant user. Okay. Um, it won't impact anyone else. So what I mean by that is this ability that personalizing your profile is your settings. Is every TFS user has the profile and journal that's where they log in. But in that profile, they can have the settings specific to them. Um, so it won't impact anyone else. So if setting time pattern, okay, time zone. So you can select the time zone as well, which time zone you prefer. So this will override the local settings on your machine or browser. Okay, so if you wanna maybe end your sprint on specific using specific time zones, you distribute the team working in different countries. Which one you wanna prefer? Which time zone you are working on, universal time zone or a specific country. Your Teams Foundation server, on-premise Team Foundation server might be hosted some different country, in Washington, in Canada, in a Budapest. I don't know, but you can select the time zone you want as a team to standardize this, and then you can finally choose the theme. It won't much matter, but let's do that. So let's change that to high contrast and see what happens. Okay, when I select that, I'm not seeing much difference in colors, but this little strip here is helping me to see stuff more. Let's move on the project dashboard. Come on. Okay, so when I hover, you can see little dotted lines. That's all it's doing, the high contrast. So you can play with that if you like. If you don't like it, you just go to where I was, settings, and here are the milers that I was talking about, because now you're in a project portal, and if you go back to the high level main root with list all the projects and you click here, you don't see my alerts. Okay, so this is what we were missing in a project dashboard, in a profile settings, sorry. So let's go back to my profile again and preferences, and I don't like high contrast. Just keep it simple. I don't have any usability or disability issues with my eyesight or something. I'm okay with that default. Okay, so close that and close that. Oops, I can open again. So we were discussing that how we can set the profile. Once I'm in a project portal, I will see also not only my profile but also my alerts. So what it means is, if I am interested to see notification that somebody is changing my work items changed by others. So somebody's changing the work item status maybe, or something, a description or title, estimates that I'm working on, that the item's assigned to me. I want to be notified. So I just click this and it will save successfully. So a couple of bunch of things might grow in future, but these are the options here. Anything is checked in. Okay. I don't think it's a good option, but anyway, any build is complete. I don't think it's a good option. My build completes. Okay, that makes sense. If I execute the build as ready, I need to know. Build quality changes. So it's improving or decreasing. It might be all the cases every time you change something. Maybe not, but I don't see. Sometimes it's worth doing it. It's your own scenario, you call. A good code review. I'm working on changes. So I'm working on code review. Yeah, makes sense. So these are the limited options. But if you really want to go advanced, you can click here, this link. This will open the alerts tab, and you can create your multiple alerts. If you don't want to go from this link, let me undo that. Then you can also go with little gear icon. This is icon for manage your project administration side. It will open administration portal for you. Okay, so go there and click on alert tab, and you will see um, built-in alerts out of the box to help you create one, like build fails. Oh, that's very handy. I want to know every time some build fails. And I can, by the way, not only select me, I can let whole team know the build is failing. So I just select this, send to the following email, and I give the group email address for whole team, maybe developer team, that the build of the applications you're working on is failed. Somebody changed something and it's not failing. Maybe unit test failing, maybe the code not compiling, or maybe other policies on your quality levels. But that's for developers. Okay, and I'll cover all these, not all these, but most of the relevant things if it matters for a project management side. Okay, so that's we are set with the profile. So these are the two things we need to worry about. And then once that is done, then it's time to set something in your dashboard, right? Okay, so let's configure the dashboards in your team project. So if you go home, that's the home. When you click it there, you see default dashboard, and this is sort of if you know the previous version of TFS, okay, it's was traditionally used to pin charts, work item counts of different QDs, and build status of is failed or is green. You know, these were tiles, and it's just provide a at glance view of the project that team members and other stakeholders are working on, just to give you visibility what's going on in the project. So dashboard is a dashboard, which in general is used for. But the approach didn't work well because it was too rigid. It was, I mean, the page had hard-coded tiles that you were forced to have on the page all the time. You can't even change and move. You know, you don't like information. You don't want that all information, or you want some information you can't add more. So, and you can't group things. You know, the page didn't support grouping of tiles or adding some commentary to complement these tiles. But now this is all possible. I mean, it has totally this old if you know that if team information version is totally replaced with the home page is replaced with a dashboard, and dashboard mean you can add your widgets in it, and configure it the way you want, basically personalize it for you and your team, and you add multiple widgets from the library, and you create multiple dashboards as well, if you need to, for your team. And let's start building a dashboard. If you're admin, you can create dashboards and move stuff around. So I won't change this dashboard. You can, if you just want to change it. You can create multiple dashboard from here, and or you can just click this little link, to add more dashboards. If you want to change the home one, you just go there and you say I want to add it, and you just move the stuff around. You configure that, dashboard, and this section, configuration section, you configure each widget separately, is different for different widgets. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, you can explore these widgets, and these are growing list. Every release, Microsoft is adding more widgets. So so just explore it. Okay, so just let's Let's create a new one. I won't change that default. Let's create a new dashboard. I don't know what name I should give it, but let's call it demo testing. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so to create some stuff here, you're gonna go on the bottom right, this little pencil icon. You can click here to edit a dashboard, and you can click the green icon, the +1, to add widgets. And you can search widgets here. At the moment, it's a very small list. It's a Team Foundation Server 2015 update 2 at the moment, time of this recording. But I'm using, of course, the Team Services account, which is updated every 3 weeks. So anyway, this list is growing every 3 week. I'm not saying that, but every release they are adding release, maybe 3 months. So on-prem is 3 months. On cloud service version of TFS is 3 weeks release cycle. So but it doesn't mean every 3 weeks you might get a new widget or not. It depends on their priorities. Anyway, so you're gonna search it, or you can just explore. At the moment, it's just very small list. So let's add this little widget, core tiles. So if I'm interested to see all the core changes, let's add it. And just for explaining what the widget is about, I just added a widget, and now I need to configure it. So I click that widget icon, and then I guess give it a name, core tile. I'm okay with that name. So you just select a folder if you wanna concern. At the moment, we don't have any folders, but let's select this one. So any changes we will want to see, we just want to see the count of these changes, how much changes we are doing, in last 7 days. Okay, let's add some more. This is good, but let's see what others is there. Oh, that's related to project management. So let's add that. Qt tile. Oh, okay. So Qt tile is basically you specify the Qt. We'll discuss Qt. Don't worry about that at the moment. But Qts are basically you create Qts to Qt your data, your requirements, your test cases, your anything, your bugs. You want a Qt. In general project management tools, you create filters. That's the same thing, right? Qts. You want to filter data. You want to see all the open items. You want to see all the blocked items. You want to see all the items in release 1, 2, 3, and I don't know, all items assigned to XYZ resources. You develop Qts, and by default, you get these Qts from Scrum template. For example, we can select the block task. I'm interested in seeing all the block items, but I'm not interested in seeing that all the time, only when there is something blocked. So let's make it color coded. So this widget is giving us color options. So I want to see this widget in red if any block items are less than 1. Greater than 1. So if it is 2, for example, it will be red. Okay, but if it is equal to 0, it should be green, right? So when anything is red on my dashboard, I'm gonna look at what's going on, and it will help me to keep an eye in building queues or block things from this tile. Okay, so this is the second widget. Okay, let's see what else we got there. Okay, let's review it from left to right. My build definition. So yeah, this gives you the quality of builds over time. So red means failing, is passing, everything is green. Orange means sometime might be code analysis or other things are failing, maybe unit test failing. So depending on your policies, what quality bars you have in your build qualities. So just give you code churn. How are you improving? Are you going down, up with time? It's a quality of code basically. add builds and code, of course. So chart for work items. This is good. You can have some graphs on there. So in previous version you were not able to do that, but now you are. So let's add that. And we can see this is added, and now it's a big thing. We can configure that, and now we can define our QD. We can select QD. I want to see all my work in progress in a pie chart, and I can group by state of this, and I can specify, the count or the sum, and that's it. I can save that. I can have bars, there is no item in the moment in our backlog, so it makes sense when we have some data, then it will be able to show you the data here. So there's nothing in the data, so it's not showing a chart right now. So yeah, this is makes sense. Most of the widgets make sense when you have data in your backlog and some other activity going on in the project. Then you see the data. Once you have data, then you see it in the dashboard. Okay, so other widgets are very straightforward, and I will again suggest you to explore and self-run yourself in this area, because this will be growing with time. But for quick close-up on that, Markdown is basically giving you updates, like any guidance helping someone to communicate some information. The Markdown is a language, by the way. Is you can create a file and upload and version control, and it's get more technical, but developers can help here as well. They create file and feed the data. It's like a feed coming, and you can also stick this on your boards, not only in your dashboard. But anyway, it's anytime when you need a guidance. New work item, yeah, this is handy for project management, project managers, so or anyone who need to add work items. Just it's on a dashboard, hit enter, and it will create a work item. And by the way, it will assign automatically to the current sprint and the default area of that team. We'll discuss these things shortly, but just for your information, if you know already. The few links you can add, like requesting a feedback, configuring the schedules. We'll do all these things later. Configure the work area. We'll discuss what are the work areas. But yeah, these are the options we can, quick links we can just have on dashboard to like a shortcuts we need. Work item QDs. Just we want to display any QD, you can have it here. I think we did. Oh, we didn't do that. Active bugs and this is coming from previous version of TFS, so it's as a widget. It used to be in a hard-coded tile. Burn down chart give you the burn down chart, which is usually used in Scrum projects for a sprint. How much work we have burned, are we on time, or if it's not burning enough. So this is the time from left to right, and the top to bottom is a status change to finished, done. So are we done with all the work by that time, which is deadline. It will be visible on the board and overview. Sprint capacity, you want to see, are we within the capacity? You want to see how much capacity we have. Is it green or red? So how many remaining hours and how much capacity. Iteration, again, is displaying the progress in your sprint. So there are a bunch of things, and these are again links, backlogs. You want to jump to the backlog board, task board, QD section. You can just click a link, and so that's all of that here. And one thing we need to configure is the QD result. So you can select any QD, like in progress work, and you can select your column you want to see. And at the moment, there's no data, as I said. So let's keep it in the dashboard, but we'll revisit the dashboard once we have the data. Okay, so I'm gonna take it, and this is just a rough dashboard at the moment, but this one we didn't configure, and we just can select the QD blocked, and if the blocks are greater than 1, I want to see it red, or if it's equal to 0, I want to see it green. Okay, so I think we are all set. We can drag and drop stuff up and down. Okay, if you don't like the way it's placed. So this is giving you a nice dashboard. Okay,